we stand united on this basic principle that human dignity, human rights, religious freedom must be protected, even for those with whom I disagree, because at the end of the day, that's what the First Amendment requires, that's what the Constitution requires. If we lose that principle, then we deteriorate into fascism and anarchy, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Rob O'Neill, what do you feel?
Have you ever watched a political debate that went so completely off the rails you could hardly believe what you were hearing? Well, that's exactly what happened on Piers Morgan Uncensored. What started as a discussion quickly turned into one of the most shocking and controversial exchanges we've seen in a long time, as Valentina Gomez delivered a series of remarks that left the entire panel pushing back in real time. But here's what made this moment so remarkable. It wasn't just that the comments were controversial. It was how quickly multiple people on the panel challenged them, turning the conversation into a tense showdown that exposed some deep political and cultural divisions. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We're going to watch the key moments from this debate together, break down exactly what was said, and then at the end, I'll share my thoughts on why this exchange matters beyond the headlines. Trust me, this discussion only gets more intense as it unfolds, and there are several moments you won't want to miss. Let's get straight into the clip.
Why do you think it's acceptable to use a phrase like, so we can kick every dirty Muslim out of Texas?
Good morning, Piers. And since you didn't have the decency of introducing me correctly, I'll happily do it. Good morning to all of my beautiful people in England. Hello to all of my lads in the UK. Last time I was there, I had an amazing time. I'm Valentina Gomez. I will be the next congresswoman for the state of Texas, and I'm a warrior of the one true King Jesus Christ. And England and Piers, the United States and England was built by white Christian men that follow Jesus Christ, not by a bunch of Mohammeds. So let's get that cleared out right away.
Right, you haven't answered my question. Why do you, if it was the other way around, you would be rightly outraged. Why do you think it's acceptable as somebody running for office in the United States to be so blatantly, why would you be so blatantly hateful towards one group of people?
You call it hateful and bigotry and racist and all of that garbage. I call it the truth. America is a Christian nation. These Muslims come to Christian nations, burn our churches, rape our women, shoot our American soldiers point blank, killing one of them in broad daylight, then chanting Allahu Akbar. Piers, my brother is a National Guardsman. He literally puts himself on the line for this nation. So yes, these dirty Muslims have no place in America and have no place in England.
But as you speak, you see, I'm just seeing a brazen Islamophobe. And people say that phrase doesn't exist. It doesn't. And I'm sure you find it funny, but I think you can make perfectly pertinent points about what's happened here without descending into such vile hatred towards an entire religion. And there are 5 million Muslims in the United States. Why would you want to categorize them in such a grotesque manner?
Oh, and those 5 million Muslims should definitely go back to their 56 Muslim nations. And let's get something very clear right now in your little show, Piers. I don't fear the groomers. I don't fear the pedophiles. I don't fear the corrupt politicians. And I definitely do not fear the dirty Muslims.
Let me bring in...
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
No.
I mean, we should be clear about the fact. I mean, sure, Valentina is just a bigot, plain and simple, engages in the worst kinds of bigotry imaginable. But it's worth noting that she's fundamentally un-American, because the American Constitution says that you cannot discriminate against people based on religion. That is pretty clear. And so she's engaging in an anti-American campaign in the name of protecting America, which is just irony beyond imagination. So yes, she's a charlatan. She doesn't know what she's talking about. You can tell by looking at her that her IQ hovers around room temperature. To me, the real scandal is not engaging with her directly because she's beneath taking seriously. But the problem is with the GOP, that you have a major party in this country having a candidate running under its flagship, engaging in this kind of really incredibly hateful, incendiary rhetoric, and they do nothing about it. We've seen it with the dissent with Donald Trump himself, with the lawlessness that he has brought to the table and the corruption that he's allowed to get away with, without the party really standing up and putting country before party and before president. And you can see that slippery slope now leading to this level, where you have just a complete hateful clown like this person representing that party without the party objecting to it.
Yeah,
It is leading us towards a very, very dark place in this country.
I actually completely.
All right.
I completely agree with you. There are perfectly legitimate.
No, Piers. And to
well,
I do.
I actually do agree with him. I think your brazen bigotry is obvious.
Let's make something very clear, Piers.
Yeah.
I only discriminate against terrorists. These terrorists have no place in America. They have no place in the world. And the best type of terrorist is a dead terrorist. And let's look at your Quran. Your Quran 8:12 states to terrorize and behead those who believe in scriptures other than the Quran. And that Afghani, that dirty Muslim that killed Sarah Beckstrom.
It doesn't actually say that, and this is the problem.
And Andrew Wolf, who is
all right, let me bring in
Kasim
Rashid. Welcome to Uncensored. If you'd like to say what you want to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I co-sign everything Omar said there. And I think fundamentally, this is where we are as a country, where rather than talking about real serious issues, we have these firebrands. I think she ran in Missouri, got 7%, moved to Texas to try to lose there as well. Look, the reality is that, we need to look at the facts here. And the facts tell us that immigration is a net positive in every single way to this country. The facts tell us, a Northwestern University study of the last 150 years found that at no point in American history have immigrants had a higher crime rate than born U.S. citizens. We're talking about Somalia, and we're talking about Minnesota. Well, Minnesota is the 4th best state in the country to start a business and to live and to work. It's the 15th safest state in the country as well. And so, the difference here is that we want the constitutional principles of due process of law to apply. And this, this idea that we're a Christian nation is contradicted by the founders of this country itself. We are actually a secular democratic republic where people can believe or not believe as they wish without oppression. And I think it's critically important that whatever our, political differences, we stand united on this basic principle that human dignity, human rights, religious freedom must be protected, even for those with whom I disagree, because at the end of the day, that's what the First Amendment requires. That's what the Constitution requires. If we lose that principle, then we deteriorate into fascism and anarchy, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Rob O'Neill, what do you feel?
For me, this debate really highlights why Valentina Gomez continues to struggle every time she runs for office. I've seen her content pop up on social media countless times, and almost everything revolves around generating outrage instead of offering real solutions. Rather than talking about policies that could improve people's lives, she constantly leans into provocative stunts designed to dominate headlines and go viral. Whether it's inflammatory rhetoric, book-burning videos, or other highly controversial performances, the pattern is always the same. The attention becomes the goal, while serious discussions about governing take a back seat. And that's the key difference between being a social media personality and being a public servant. If you're asking voters to trust you with public office, people expect more than viral moments. They expect leadership, practical ideas, and the ability to represent everyone in your district, even those who disagree with you. That may help explain why she's repeatedly fallen short at the ballot box. Campaigns built primarily on controversy can generate millions of views online, but views don't automatically translate into votes. At some point, voters start asking what your actual plan is beyond creating the next headline. To me, that's exactly what we saw in this interview. The focus wasn't on solving problems or presenting a vision for the future. It was on escalating the rhetoric, and the rest of the panel pushed back hard because of it. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this kind of political strategy actually helps candidates, or does it ultimately hurt them? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more political commentary. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.